When are you going to realize that you are the problem? It's you! Now what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? Everyone reaches a point in their life where they come to the realization that they are the bad guy. That you caused this for yourself. Maybe it's you. The sooner that you accept that, the sooner you can move forward. Because this guilt, this shame, this disgusting, heavy feeling you feel inside of you, this will all go away. You can use this feeling as motivation so that you never put yourself in this position again. It's tough love. I'm here to help you and guide you through that process because I believe that you can be a better person. But it all starts with you. Nobody in this world is perfect, and you are not exempt from that. You are human, I am human, we understand each other. I used to play into the victim mindset. I used to think that the world was against me. Everybody did something to me to hurt me because they are the problem. It's not me. I'm just sitting here chilling, minding my own business. I've even had friendships in the past that have ended because I've literally ghosted them for years for no reason, out of the blue, just because I said in my head, oh, this person did something wrong to me. And then I had way too much pride to check myself and be like, okay, I was wrong in this situation. Let me reach out to this person and let them know that I was acting really weird this day and I feel guilty for it. I'm sorry if I upset you. I hope you didn't take things the wrong way, but I just wanted to clear the air and make sure that you're good because I don't want this to happen again. I value our relationship and I want to make things right. But no, I had way too much pride. My ego was too big. And instead of apologizing and saying, hey, I fucked up, I ghosted them for years. Make that make sense. Even if you're a good person right now, there's always going to be that one person in your past that was like, oh yeah, Zen was a bitch. But it doesn't matter because they don't know who you are now. And you outgrew that version of yourself. Do yourself a favor and change. Sometimes you just need to take accountability over what you've done wrong, about how you've wronged someone or hurt someone. Or if somebody's hurt you and you've retaliated, that is also you being the bad guy. I'm talking about those ones where you know you fucked up, but you're too fragile to admit it. Say, hey, I shouldn't have done this. Next time I'm gonna do better. If you don't like the person that you've become, if you are unhappy with the way you are and the decisions that you're making, then check yourself, hold yourself accountable, accept the truth and admit to your red flags. So what better way to do this than to address my own red flags? And this is something that I'm not ashamed of because I think that people can relate to this. You know, as I said, we're only human. The first red flag that I've realized, and listen, I'm realizing this after a breakup. I was equally responsible for the way things turned out in this relationship. What about your red flags? The sooner you get out of this victim mindset, the better for you. Because nobody wants to be with a victim. Nobody wants to be with someone who has a chip on their shoulder, who keeps making the same mistakes over and over and then blaming everybody else around them. Who is the common denominator? What is the common factor in all of these situations that you've been in where it's not worked out the way you wanted to? You. Only you can change yourself. Nobody else can change you for you. You've got to want it. One of the red flags that I realized after being in a relationship is that I like the chase. Having an avoidant attachment style, and my attachment style is not exclusively avoidant. I tend to get quite anxious as well. But this is something that I've worked on for the past 3 years whilst being with someone who is so healthy. In fact, my ex had no traumas. This is the thing with my ex relationships. They tend to come out of trauma bonds because I want to know how people think. I want to get deep inside their mind and learn about how they grew up, what type of environment they were raised in, what shaped them as a person today. And when I asked my ex, have you ever been through anything traumatic? He literally said, no, not really. And I was like, huh? Are you sure? Think again, like honestly, just sit and think and then we'll revisit the question later on. Because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that someone had never been through something traumatic. Now looking back, I realized that of course people go through things. People go through traumas. I know that he's been through stuff that me, myself, I would find traumatic. But it's his mindset, the way that he looks at things. He doesn't see it as a trauma, he sees it as a lesson in life. And he learns from it. And this is how a healthy person thinks. This helped me to be the person that I am today. I can't give him all the credit. But he did help me to calm the fuck down. Because I was fucking crazy before. I was a crazy, traumatized kid. After a relationship, after a breakup, you overthink sometimes. You rethink things and you just hold on to memories. I stayed in contact with my ex after the breakup. We didn't see each other, but we stayed texting. Now, take that as you want. It kind of did help me to slowly let go because I was very, very attached. We would kind of talk to each other and hold each other accountable for certain things. And he had said to me that he should have seen the red flags. And I was like, huh? I got a little bit defensive. And on that day, I was just having a bad day. I don't know what it was, honestly. Whenever I have a bad day, I can't even remember what it is I was mad about. Another red flag that I have, which is a very toxic trait, is that I try to force things. With all my might and power, I will try to force a situation to work in my favor. Yeah, I do that. But guess what? It never works out that way when your intentions are not pure, when you don't just go with the flow and release all that ego, all those expectations. Because life works itself out for you. This is what you need to understand. There is a plan for you. There is destiny. I think that everything is written. And when I try to force things to happen for me, they never happen for me. Maybe I'll get the result I wanted in the short term, but long term, it just always falls apart because the foundation was not there. You tried to skip a few steps and just shortcut straight through to the result that you wanted without actually doing the work. It's all about baby steps. And because you are trying to force situations for yourself, the universe sees that and says, hey, this person is not being genuine about their intentions. They are trying to do something just to gain something. You don't do good things with the hopes that, yes, this other person will do something good for me in return. It's always better to do some things out of the kindness of your heart and to do things with good intentions, because life will reward you in other ways when you need it the most. Maybe not right now, but later on down the line, it will reward you and you don't have to force it. The thing with relationships is, as a woman, I had this picture in my head that finding a man would help me, because having a man in my life who could provide for me, who could look after me, someone that I could depend on, basically. This is what I had in my head for my last relationship. I wanted to be like everybody else and look for a man who could do everything for me, who could be everything for me. And then I came to realize that's not really what I wanted. I want to be someone who's independent. I want to be my own person. I want to be an individual. I want to be successful in my own right because of stuff that I did for myself. I don't want to have to depend on somebody else or ride on somebody else's back to get to success. I want to do it on my own. And this is what I realized. I was forcing this narrative onto myself that I didn't really agree with. And when you sacrifice your values, when you sacrifice your morals, the things that make you you, the things that you cannot compromise on when it comes to relationships, because then you're just losing parts of yourself every time you compromise on these things. Every time you do that, it just eats away at you slowly until you don't know who you are anymore. And I was at that point where I didn't know who I am or what I wanted, because I wasn't being true to myself and I was forcing it. He wanted that for me. He wanted to mold me into somebody who I was not ready to be. And that's okay. That's just not the path that I'm on at the moment. And I didn't want to admit it to myself because of all of the time and energy that I spent and invested into the relationship. I didn't want to say, hey, this is not for me. Maybe it will be for me later on in life, but I need to experience a bit more for myself before I go down this path, because I don't want to live life with regrets. I don't want to live life saying, hey, I wish I would have just taken the time to do this for myself. I don't want that. So why was I forcing this? Why was I forcing myself? Why was I forcing myself to just be this person that I wasn't ready to be yet? For the sake of someone else? Hell no. An opportunity that is made for you will never pass you by. So if you are going through something and you have a gut feeling that something is wrong, that you shouldn't be doing this, that there's something that's not quite right, you need to trust yourself, first of all. And then you need to stop forcing it. You need to just let go and take this as a sign. Instead of letting that feeling sit inside you, it's just the universe's way of telling you that you are not on the right path right now, and you need to wake up and realize this. Before you start making mistakes, you need to trust that gut feeling and just say, hey, maybe I'm forcing this. I need to reevaluate. It's okay to change the plan. It's okay. Maybe it's not the end. Maybe it's just a redirection. Oh, I don't even want to admit this one, but another red flag, toxic trait that I have is I just move on way too quickly. Anybody else? And I'm talking exclusively about relationships. Once I end it with somebody, whether it was me ending it or them ending it, and usually it's me ending it because of this ego thing that I went over earlier, I try to find a replacement ASAP. Like, it's actually scary. When I was a teenager, and I used to see girls in school and they would just be in one relationship after the other, like literally no break in between, like, have you no shame? But then once I went through life and started experiencing relationships at my age, I'm 25 years old, I'm gonna be 26 this year, and I've been in 2 serious relationships, both which have ended at the 3-year mark. I've got this curse on me because life tries to teach you the same lesson over and over again. It's up to you whether you learn from that mistake, and you have to change your ways so that life doesn't throw that same lesson at you again. So that's why sometimes you feel like you're stuck. You feel like, oh, why is it always happening to me every single time? Why? It's because you keep making the same decisions and expecting a different result. It's you. Maybe this is your red flag. Maybe this is your toxic trait. You just don't learn your lesson. But for me, my toxic trait, my red flag is that I try to move on too quickly. And the truth is, maybe I just don't like being alone. Maybe I need somebody around me. Maybe I need that affection from somebody else in order to feel good about myself. And this is so wrong. I like being alone. I like being in my own company, but it's something about having someone who you can be intimate with that just hits different. And I'm trying to improve this because I've realized that it doesn't do me any favors. When I exited my last relationship, I got into my ex relationship pretty quickly, like within a few months after the breakup. So I never processed anything fully. I didn't really feel alone. I didn't really feel the absence of having an intimate partner. I didn't really have that time to just sit by myself and work on myself. And because of this, later on in the relationship, I started to feel like there was something missing. I started to feel like I had something I needed to do, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I started getting cold feet and second guessing, and it's because I didn't work on myself first. So thank you for allowing me to share my red flags with you. If you are at a point where you've come to a realization that who you are right now is not who you want to be, give yourself a little bit of a talking to and acknowledge your flaws. Point out your red flags. If you have any toxic traits or red flags that you want to share, then just leave them in the comments. My name is Zen, and I hope that this talk helped you today to be a better person in the future.